Most people wait for their life to change, but life isn't waiting for you. Every day you delay, your future drifts further away. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you're tired of repeating the same patterns, if you know you were made for more, then there's only one truth you must face. If you don't change, nothing will. And today, right now, your transformation begins. Number 1, change begins with brutal self-honesty. Change begins with brutal self-honesty, the kind of honesty most people spend their entire lives avoiding. It's easy to tell yourself a comforting story about why things are the way they are, to blame circumstances, timing, other people, or the world for what you don't yet have. But the moment you strip away the excuses, the disguises, and the layers of denial, you're left with the truth, a truth that can either break you or build you. Brutal self-honesty isn't about judging yourself harshly, it's about finally seeing yourself clearly. It's about facing the parts of your life you've ignored, the patterns you've repeated, the choices you've justified, and the limits you've accepted without questioning whether they truly belong to you. There comes a moment in every person's life when the mirror stops reflecting just your face and starts reflecting your reality. That moment is uncomfortable. It's raw. It's a confrontation between who you are and who you know you could be. And this is where most people turn away. They would rather hold on to a familiar struggle than face an unfamiliar truth. But real change, the kind that lasts, the kind that elevates your life to a completely different level, demands that you stop hiding behind stories and start owning your decisions. When you tell yourself the truth, you take back your power. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your future. Brutal self-honesty forces you to look at the places where your habits sabotage your potential. It forces you to acknowledge that your current results are not accidents. They are reflections of your repeated actions. If you're inconsistent, your results will be inconsistent. If you avoid discomfort, your opportunities will avoid you. If you keep choosing what is easy over what is necessary, your life will keep giving you the same disappointments dressed in different forms. But the moment you confront your patterns with honesty, you gain the ability to change them. You gain clarity, direction, and control. You realize that you are stronger than the excuses you've been telling yourself. You realize that nothing outside of you has been holding you back more than the limits you've accepted within yourself. True self-honesty also requires courage. The courage to admit when you've settled, when you've wasted time, when you've allowed fear to dictate your path, and when you've pretended that you were trying when deep down you knew you weren't giving your all. It takes courage to admit that the version of you that got you here is not the version that will take you where you want to go. This kind of honesty isn't comfortable, but it is liberating. It frees you from the illusion that change will magically appear without effort. It frees you from the lie that you have more time to waste. It frees you from the belief that your current identity is fixed. Because once you tell yourself the truth, you unlock a new level of personal power. You stop running from what needs to be changed and start running toward who you were meant to become. Number 2, your current results are a reflection of your current decisions. Your current results are a reflection of your current decisions, whether you want to admit it or not. Life is always giving you feedback. Every outcome, every pattern, every success, and every disappointment is a mirror showing you the choices you've been making. Most people want different results without changing the decisions that created their reality in the first place. They want more success while choosing comfort. They want more confidence while choosing avoidance. They want more progress while choosing procrastination. But reality doesn't respond to wishes. It responds to actions. Every decision you make, from how you start your morning to how you respond to challenges, from what you tolerate to what you pursue, is shaping the quality of your life. Your decisions are not isolated moments. They are the foundation of your outcomes. When you look at your life right now, your health, your relationships, your habits, your finances, your emotional state, what you're really looking at is the result of thousands of small and big decisions you've made over years. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about understanding that you are not powerless. You are not stuck because of fate or circumstance. You're experiencing the consequences of choices made consciously or unconsciously. And the most empowering realization is this: if your decisions created your current results, then new decisions can create new results. Everything can change when you change the choices you consistently make. The key word is consistently, because isolated effort doesn't transform a life. Repeated decisions do. Consistency is the evidence of who you've decided to become. The truth is, most people make decisions based on emotions, habits, or fears rather than intentional thinking. They choose what feels easier in the moment instead of what serves them long term. They choose comfort over growth, distraction over discipline, temporary relief over lasting results. And then they wonder why their life looks the same year after year. But when you decide to take ownership, when you consciously choose actions aligned with the life you want instead of the life you're trying to escape, you shift everything. You change the energy you bring to your day. You change the standards you operate by. You change the trajectory of your future. Decisions are the steering wheel of your destiny, and every choice, no matter how small, either moves you closer to your goals or further away from them. There is a moment in every transformation where you must confront the reality that your patterns are not accidental. They are decisions repeated until they become your identity. If you continue making decisions based on who you've been, you'll keep getting results that match your past. But if you start making decisions based on who you want to become, your results will start to match your future. This is where real power lies, in choosing differently, choosing boldly, choosing intentionally. When you recognize that your results are not punishments or rewards, but reflections of your decisions, you reclaim full control of your life. You stop waiting for luck, motivation, or perfect timing. You start making decisions that align with your highest potential, and your results begin to shift in ways that once felt impossible. Number 3, growth requires discomfort. Comfort keeps you stuck. Growth requires discomfort because every meaningful transformation demands that you step into territory you've never walked before. Human beings are wired to seek safety, familiarity, and predictability, but those very things often become the walls that trap potential. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it slowly erodes your ambition, your hunger, and your capacity to evolve. It whispers lies that keep you small. Stay where you are. Don't risk it. Don't stretch. Don't try. But growth speaks a different language. It challenges you. It pushes you. It calls you to step into uncertainty, to embrace difficulty, and to willingly walk into situations that force you to become stronger. The truth is, your next level of life is always hidden behind a door labeled discomfort, and the people who achieve extraordinary growth are the ones who choose to open that door instead of avoiding it. Comfort keeps you stuck because it convinces you that the life you have is the life you must accept. It makes the ordinary feel acceptable, even when your soul craves something extraordinary. It keeps you repeating the same routines, giving the same effort, thinking the same thoughts, and settling for the same outcomes. Comfort is subtle. It doesn't yell. It dulls you slowly. One day you wake up realizing that a year has passed and nothing has changed, not because you were incapable, but because you stayed where it felt easy. Comfort seduces you with the illusion of safety, but what it really steals is your growth. The dreams you want, the breakthroughs you crave, the future you imagine, they don't live in the comfort zone. They live in the stretch zone, the challenge zone, the zone where you have to fight, sweat, learn, and confront the parts of yourself that prefer the easy path. Discomfort is the birthplace of evolution. Every time you choose discomfort, you choose expansion. When you challenge your limits expand. When you face fears, fears shrink. When you do what's difficult, what once seemed impossible becomes normal. Discomfort builds resilience, discipline, and mental toughness, qualities that comfort will never provide. Think about any moment in your life where you truly grew, whether emotionally, mentally, or physically. It wasn't during the relaxed, easy seasons. It was during the moments you were stretched, challenged, pushed, or forced to adapt. Discomfort forces you to shed old habits, old identities, and old beliefs. It forces you to become someone new, someone more capable, someone more aligned with the life you're trying to create. Every great breakthrough begins with a moment of discomfort. A moment where you decide to do what isn't easy because you know staying the same will cost you more. To grow, you must become someone willing to embrace the friction of the unfamiliar. You must be willing to let go of the comfort that has kept you predictable and step into the discomfort that will make you powerful. The people who rise are not the ones who avoid discomfort, but the ones who use it. They lean into it. They understand that discomfort is not a sign to retreat. It's a sign you're on the right path. Growth is not supposed to feel easy. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable, challenging, and uncertain, because that discomfort is the evidence that you're stepping into a version of yourself that comfort could never create. Number 4, identity drives behavior. Identity drives behavior because every action you take flows from the beliefs you hold about who you are. You don't act according to your goals, your dreams, or your desires. You act according to the story you tell yourself about yourself. If you believe you're disciplined, you behave with discipline. If you believe you're inconsistent, you act inconsistently. If you believe you're capable, you move with confidence. Identity is the internal blueprint that your behavior follows. Most people try to change their habits without ever changing the identity those habits come from. They force themselves to act differently while still seeing themselves as the same old version. This is why change feels difficult, why progress feels temporary, and why people fall back into old patterns. The mind will always work to prove the identity true, even if that identity is holding you back. The most powerful transformations happen when you stop trying to behave your way into a new identity and start identifying your way into new behavior. Instead of forcing new actions, you adopt a new self-concept. You stop saying, "I want to be disciplined," and start saying, "I am a disciplined person." You stop saying, "I want to be successful," and start embodying the mindset of someone who expects success. Identity is not just a label. It's a standard, a set of expectations, a pattern of thinking that shapes every decision you make. When your identity shifts, your habits follow naturally. You begin choosing differently, thinking differently, showing up differently because your mind is no longer operating from outdated beliefs about who you are or what you're capable of. Most people are trapped not by their circumstances, but by their identity. They're living inside a mental cage built from past experiences, past failures, past labels, and past versions of themselves that no longer represent who they could be. They walk through life acting out a character they didn't consciously choose. This is why change feels impossible for so many, because they're trying to build a new life using an outdated identity. Your identity is like the operating system of your mind. If you don't upgrade it, you'll keep running the same programs, repeating the same patterns, and attracting the same outcomes. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not made of effort. It's made of identity. The moment you shift who you believe you are, your behavior shifts effortlessly, and your life begins to align with that new belief. Identity is your internal compass. It determines what you tolerate, what you pursue, what you ignore, and what you believe is possible for you. If you see yourself as a leader, you will naturally take initiative. If you see yourself as someone strong, you will naturally rise in difficult situations. If you see yourself as someone worthy, you will naturally demand higher standards in your life. Behavior becomes automatic when it matches identity, which is why the fastest way to elevate your life is to elevate the way you see yourself. When you rewrite your identity, you rewrite your actions, and when you rewrite your actions, you rewrite your destiny. True transformation begins not with changing what you do, but with changing who you believe you are. Number 5, massive action creates momentum. Massive action creates momentum because the universe responds to movement, not intentions. Most people spend their lives planning, thinking, wishing, and preparing, but nothing changes until action is taken. Action is the force that breaks inertia and begins the cycle of progress. When you take massive action, you send a clear message to your mind, your environment, and your entire nervous system. I am committed. That level of commitment triggers a psychological shift. You stop waiting for the perfect conditions. You stop overanalyzing every detail. You stop letting doubt dictate your steps. Massive action pulls you out of hesitation and into forward motion. And once you are moving, everything becomes easier. Momentum reduces resistance. It builds confidence. It turns effort into progress and progress into unstoppable drive. Most people take small, hesitant steps and expect massive results. They dip their toe in and wonder why the water never moves. Small action has its place, but it rarely creates momentum. Small action is safe, controlled, comfortable. It doesn't stretch you and it doesn't activate the internal power required for transformation. Massive action, on the other hand, demands focus, energy, and courage. It forces you to break patterns of procrastination, excuses, and fear. It pulls you so far out of your comfort zone that you can no longer cling to old habits. Massive action means you're not just thinking differently, you're doing differently. And when your actions escalate, your results begin to accelerate. You start seeing evidence that change is happening, and that evidence fuels you to keep pushing forward. Momentum is the hidden advantage of massive action. Once you take one big step, the next step becomes easier. Once you push through one barrier, the next barrier is less intimidating. Momentum turns discipline into desire. It transforms effort into flow. It creates a chain reaction where one achievement leads to another, one breakthrough leads to the next, and one moment of courage becomes the foundation for a new level of confidence. The reason momentum is so powerful is because it changes the way you feel about taking action. What once felt overwhelming becomes normal. What once felt risky becomes exciting. What once felt impossible becomes expected. Momentum shifts your internal state from hesitant to unstoppable. Massive action also builds identity. When you push yourself to act at a higher level, you start to see yourself differently. When you take bold steps, you begin to believe you are bold. When you take consistent action, you begin to believe you are consistent. When you take courageous action, you begin to see yourself as someone who does not retreat in the face of fear. This is how massive action transforms not only your results, but your self-image. And once your identity shifts, your behavior follows effortlessly. Massive action becomes your new normal because you are no longer acting from the identity of someone who hesitates. You are acting from the identity of someone who executes. The momentum created by massive action doesn't just push your life forward. It reshapes who you are at the core. Number 6, your future depends on the changes you make today. Your future depends on the changes you make today because every decision you make, every habit you choose, and every action you take becomes a brick in the foundation of the life you are building. Most people look at the future as if it is some distant event that will magically unfold. But the truth is, your future is being shaped in real time, right now, through the choices you make in this very moment. The person you will become 5 years from now is being created by the standards you hold today. The success you want in the future is determined by the discipline you practice today. The confidence you wish you had is built by the challenges you choose to face today. Every step you take or refuse to take is shaping the direction of your destiny, and that means the power to change your future is never later. It is always now. People often wait for the right time to begin transforming their lives, not realizing that waiting is itself a decision, one that pushes their future further away. Nothing changes by accident. Nothing improves through hope alone. Change requires intention, effort, and action, and those can only happen in the present moment. The future doesn't reward those who wish. It rewards those who act. If you want a different outcome, you must make different choices today. You must let go of habits that no longer serve you, beliefs that keep you limited, and behaviors that sabotage your progress. The smallest change you make today can dramatically alter the trajectory of your life because change compounds. One courageous decision can create a chain reaction that transforms everything. Your future self is watching you, relying on you, waiting for you to act. Imagine the version of you who is stronger, wiser, more confident, more successful, and more fulfilled. That version cannot exist if you keep making choices aligned with who you've been instead of who you want to become. Your future self is shaped by what you discipline yourself to do today, not by what you promise yourself you'll start tomorrow. Discipline, consistency, growth, these things are built in the present. And every time you choose growth over comfort, action over procrastination, courage over fear, you are investing in a future that will reward you 10 times over. You are planting seeds today that will become the opportunities, breakthroughs, and blessings of tomorrow. Your life won't transform by chance, and it will transform by choice. Decide today to rise, to grow, to change the patterns that keep you stuck. Your future is waiting for the version of you who takes action now. If you change, everything changes.